On this episode, we're diving into a brand new mailbag packed with your questions. From favorite snacks and breakfast spots to Disney nostalgia, original ride ideas, and what we'd wish for if we found a magic lamp. Today is May 9th, 2025, and this is episode 770 of the Main Street Magic Podcast.
Jeremy and Rhonda are more than a little fond of Disney World, so they made this podcast to share it all with you. Reports and resorts, top 10 lists of all sorts, Main Street Magic's bringing it home for you.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Main Street Magic. I'm your host, Jeremy Stein, and as always, I'm joined by my lovely wife, Rhonda.
Hey guys!
If you want to be part of the community and join the conversation, get the latest theme park news, as well as live streams from the parks and resorts, head to Facebook and search for the Main Street Magic community and ask to join.
Make sure you check us out on the web at mainstmagic.com, as well as follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at mainstmagic, and on TikTok at MSM Podcast.
Planning a trip to Disneyland or Walt Disney World can be overwhelming and at times just downright frustrating. But don't worry, because Mouse Dining removes the frustration of booking Disney dining reservations, alerting you when they spot availability for your desired restaurant, date, meal, and time. Visit msmfriends.com to use this free service.
And don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you can get brand new episodes every Tuesday and Friday.
Are you ready for your bucket list trip? Our trusted partner, MEI Travel, will handle the planning so you can focus on the memories. They offer free vacation planning services and have nearly 20 years of experience creating memorable vacations. Visit mainstmagic.com/travel for a fee-free, no-obligation quote today. Looking to add a little extra magic to your next celebration near Walt Disney World? Meet Shauna, the Sunshine Baking Princess. A former Disney cast member and restaurant manager, Shauna turned her passion for pastries into a full-time dream. After earning her pastry certificate and working in Disney bakeries, she began creating custom treats from home during the pandemic and never looked back. Now, 5 years later, Shauna's bringing sweetness to the Four Corners area and Walt Disney World resorts with beautifully crafted cakes, cupcakes, macaroons, cakesicles, Rice Krispie treats, brownies, and more. With features in online magazines and travel guides, her magical bakes have become a go-to for birthdays, vacations, and special surprises. Whether you're planning a resort delivery or a custom order for your next trip, visit sunshinebakingprincess.com and let Shauna add some pixie dust to your dessert table.
Well, I am going to predict we just came back from a great trip at Epic Universe, the new park.
Yeah.
And if you listen to next week's episode, you will hear all about it.
Yeah. I'm excited to talk about that. This is us looking into the future.
Yes,
to
but
record
today,
for the past.
yeah,
right?
But today we are looking at, Jeremy did our Q&A questions in the Main Street community page and community and all that jazz. So we've got some listener questions to answer today.
Yeah, we do these about once a quarter, I want to say. So we got a lot of questions.
Always
so
fun.
this will be probably 2 episodes or so, and then we'll sandwich Epic Universe review right in between. So let's get right into it. Rhonda, Leslie has 2 questions. The first one being, what is something you guys do to keep the parks magical? Well, I'm trying to... That's...
Whale.
Like we still do we still do like dates.
Yeah, and
though,
we still
you know
do
what I mean?
new things. We try to do new things.
We try to always do something new.
And sometimes we just enjoy and like try to like look around sometimes and like take in new things and look at different things and
like we don't tend to do a ton of attractions and rides in general. I mean, obviously if something is under 10 minutes and we walk by it, we might. But yeah, sometimes we will just on a day just say, you know what, let's try and ride some rides today. And we'll just do those. So it keeps things fresh, I think. Yeah. But yeah, I think they're trying to always do something new or revisit something we haven't done in several years. Yeah. We've been doing a lot of that recently, I feel like. What is your favorite EPCOT festival and why? I know mine's Festival of the Arts.
Flower and Garden.
Flower and Garden?
Yeah.
Why? What reason?
Well, because it's really pretty, and the food is usually always good.
Usually, we haven't had the best experiences this year, but we really only did those first 2 visits at the start.
And we've had some good stuff.
Yeah. No, we have. There's been some good stuff, but there's been some.
And
misses.
then there's a lot of like stuff that we didn't retry, but it was last year the chicken and waffles, which was really good.
Yep.
The honey bistro, like all that kind of like. So I have just the food has always still been, I guess you should say, somewhat good enough that I'm like, this is my favorite.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I love the art at Festival of the Arts.
Yeah.
I love the kind of entertainment.
Yeah.
With the live paintings and stuff. And then I think the food has always been really good there. And I think it's the festival they put the most into the past couple years to kind of beef it up because it's the shortest run festival, not only in actual time of year, but as long as it's been around. So the food has consistently gotten better, I feel like. There.
Yes.
And I just love the artwork. But Flower and Garden, very good too. I'm going to move on to Sean. I said, what's the most overrated or least reliable tip people give regarding the Orlando theme parks? I know one is, I don't know, people really are saying this as a tip to other people, but a mistake we always say that people do make is not using a travel advisor.
Yes.
You know, I mean, it really does make a difference, especially with all the rates and specials that Disney's doing right now this summer. To kind of, combat with Epic Universe and low occupancy. There's a lot to weed through and there's a lot to figure out. And especially when you're doing it with tickets or dining or free dining and which one makes more sense. You're making a big mistake if you don't use them. So, yeah.
And
what
then,
do you think?
Not staying on property.
Yeah. I think a huge tip for people want to always say, like, stay off property.
Right.
You save so much money.
And it depends. Like, Jeremy and I were talking about this recently. Like, yes, you can save some money, but it just depends on how much it is. And then, is that worth your time? And, like...
In the bubble. The
right.
Disney magic.
I just started to say, like, if you're staying, like, over in the Flamingo Crossing... If you have to take a midday break, and now it's so funny because now I respect and I have a different view for people that come to Disney World that only get to come once or twice,
Yeah, we talked about that in Disneyland.
Because of Disneyland and walking so much. And we did take breaks. Yeah. And if you, like... Even as an adult, not with children, just as an adult, but even with children, if you have to take a break and then depending, the traffic can be really hard trying to get back over there. And, Disney's done really well with the bus system usually that, or depending on, the transportation that you are around and using. So I think that's, an overrated tip to stay off property. Like,
Well, and with the off-property stuff too, it's much. I'll compare it to the way that people always say that annual passes at Universal are so much cheaper than they are at Disney, right? Because you're simply looking at a number for a year, right?
Correct.
You're not looking at what do you get out of that amount of money.
Right.
4 parks versus 2, because we don't know what they're going to do with that big. 20 some resorts versus whatever, half a dozen. So that's something people don't factor in. And I think this is the same thing we've always said with the off property and stuff, especially with the parking fees, with the resort fees. A lot of times those aren't cheaper, maybe. And as Rana said, time is money. So if you have, if you got to take an hour to take a quick break because you're staying on property compared to 2 hours staying off property and dealing with the hassle and the headache. It's saving $30 a night to stay at Flamingo Crossing over an All-Star worth an extra 30 to 45 minutes in traffic each day when all you want to do is either get back to your room or get to the parks. So I think, good one. Let's move on to Cassidy. Said favorite ride, snack, land in both DCA and Disneyland. This should be easy because we've just talked about this the past couple episodes.
Favorite ride, Web Slingers.
Right, and I will go with Incredicoaster in DCA. How about over in Disneyland? Because Haunted. I know. I just immediately want to say Hyperspace Mountain because I think it
was so good.
Blew me away so much. I'll just go with that.
Hyper?
Yeah, I'll just go with that.
Yeah.
How about favorite snack in each? California Adventure.
Churros.
I was going to say it was part of the Food and Wine
good.
Festival, but it was there when we were there.
Yeah.
So that was outstanding. How about in Disneyland? Is a breakfast chimichanga snack?
Ooh, is it? If it's not, I will take any of the
anything
the
from
Disney,
Holly Jolly.
Yes, the Disney or the macaroon.
Yes.
The strawberry, the Donald macaroon.
Yeah.
Holy crap, that was incredible.
Oh, you know what? I'll go back to California Adventure, and instead you have the churros. I will select the churro toffee over in DCA. That's going to get my snack one from there. What about land? California Adventure. Cars. Yeah. How about Disneyland?
Cars. I think Adventureland, like how it goes into like that part.
Into New Orleans Square and all that. It's a great transition.
Yep.
Yeah, I think we talked about that, but it is such a good one. I'd go with the same thing. Yeah. I love that. And we have otherwise, I mean, it would be Galaxy's Edge, except that we have Galaxy's Edge
100%.
exactly as it is.
100%.
So we're not going to pick that.
No.
But all right. Trevor said, or asked, I should say, if you could create a new ride or experience based off of a new original IP, what would you create and why? It's not new, but I've always said Big Hero 6.
Yeah.
And having some sort of attraction, maybe kind of like Flight of Passage. Make it not 3D, cool. And you're riding your hero riding on Baymax through San Francisco, you know, and maybe you are chasing down the man in the kabuki mask, or you know, there's a new story element, whatever. But so yeah, it's really technically not original because it was a Marvel, and that Disney, you know, obviously acquired, and then it's not new. So maybe you can answer the original new question better.
Well, I mean, it's not new. Elemental.
It's new enough. I'd say anything within the past 5 to 10 years really is new.
Okay.
Yeah, Elemental. You
really love that movie.
We watched it on the flight back, I think. It was either there or back.
Yeah.
And I think it was the first time, though, that I had really sat and paid attention from beginning to end.
Really?
And it is an outstanding movie that does not get enough love or credit. It is really, really good.
It really is.
What kind of ride?
I don't know. I feel like something could definitely be done with like water.
100%.
Obviously.
Yep.
You would not want something like this. But just going back to the Nemo ride and thinking like,
oh, jeez.
Like when she gets in that bubble.
Yeah.
And then the Asteria flower.
That would be good.
I mean, something like that
think
would
what you
be
could do
super
with,
cool.
And obviously they would never do it because that movie didn't do enough. Imagine an elemental land, though. Mm-hmm. Like I'm even thinking of the fire store, you know, that the dad owned and all, and like the water section. Yeah, I could see it'd be a water style ride, like you're saying. Mm-hmm. But you'd have to put in somewhere the fire element. Yeah, which I'm sure you could. Yeah. So get on it, Disney. All right.
Right.
Sammy asked, this is a great one. If you both ended up in the Cave of Wonders and found an old dirty lamp, and after giving it a clean, you find a magical genie inside, they would grant you both 3 wishes. What would you wish for? So this isn't 3 collectively. We each get 3.
Oh, so we get 6.
We get 6 total. But yeah, so what would your
But we can't pull them together, so...
Right. So you got to give 3, I got to do 3 different. I mean, and we can't really... negotiate.
And it's super hard because I feel like right now, like, you know, like with Aladdin, like obviously he wants like
riches.
Well, he wants to marry a princess, so he has to become a prince.
Right.
Like
I've already married
and I've married my prince.
I think you do it.
So, I don't know. I would say, and I've always said, I would say riches only to be able to use them
for others.
Like at Disney, and then be like, I'm going to pay for that family, or I'm going to, just to be able to, I don't know, like see somebody at dinner and go, I'm going to take them. Yeah. You know, to take Rachel to
Victoria and Albert.
And watch her and like enjoy that. And I mean, I would.
Okay, so riches would be one of your.
Riches would be one. Riches, yeah.
I mean, yeah. See, it's hard because anything I would want could be purchased.
Well, I just
so it's hard. You know what I mean? Because it's not. Again, it's not like we need to. Yeah, make me a prince or anything like that.
But it's funny because I say riches and then I'm like, well, let's see, I could. But then I'm like, if I have the riches,
because I'm thinking like unlimited DVC points. Right. Anywhere in the world, unlimited DVC points. Okay. But here's the thing.
Falls under riches.
But here's the difference though. Riches unlimited would create you to live a completely different lifestyle because that means everything's unlimited. If the wish is I want unlimited DVC points. That's the only rich that I'm getting. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So it doesn't lose value. It has more of a value than just saying, make me Jeff Bezos wealthy. You know, he can do anything he wants ever and not think about what it costs.
Right.
So that's riches.
Right.
But I think for something like this, it would be individualized. I would want unlimited DVC points. The rest of my life gets to stay the same. That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Riches will change you as a person. You have unlimited money.
Though?
You can say whatever you want right now, and I would tend to agree. Yes, we would be the same people. You won't be the same person. I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm not saying it in a good way. You won't be the same person. Because simple fact is, if you do start walking around Disney because you have unlimited funds and you just start doling out dinners and gifts and everything everywhere, everybody's going to go, hey, this is Rhonda who has unlimited money. Therefore, you automatically... It's not going to be that. So automatically, your whole life changes because now you're a celebrity in that sense. You know what I mean? So individual items, let's take away riches.
Okay.
I'm going to go with unlimited DVC points.
Okay.
Would be one of mine, I think. Okay. See, I get thinking to it. A private jet with pilot and all, private jet that wouldn't cost more, so we could go to international parks.
Right.
We could say, hey, you want to go to Disneyland this weekend?
Right.
And you could just do it. Okay?
Right.
So that's 2 for me. And then I'm trying to think of the third one would be. I don't think we even have to make them Disney related, but we are, right?
Yeah, I mean, I still would like.
Because then my third one would be
I think
the
I still
best
want
possible
riches.
future for my 2 girls.
Right, and I
you know?
just started to say, because then I think, oh man, wouldn't have to worry about anything, and I could just do that. But
yeah,
I just would want. I would want happiness.
Mm-hmm. Maybe a house at Disney.
And
house in Golden Oak.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, if you had the choice between, and there would be no additional costs for that individual thing, right? In the future, have a home in Golden Oaks or unlimited DVC points. Which would you choose?
Probably a home in Golden Oak.
Would you? See, I think I'd take the unlimited DVC because you could. First of all, you could stay in grand villas or 2-bedroom, whatever you wanted every time. But you also have a dozen
but you
or
can't
whatever
take
places
your dogs
to go.
with you.
Well, then, see, this is where you get. But you already have riches, so you're already putting them in a pet spa while we're gone, right?
Okay.
For all the DVC trips we're gonna make.
Okay.
Yeah, Golden Oak. A house in Golden Oak would be pretty sweet. Like. I couldn't just walk out your front door, get on a Disney bus, and end up at Magic Kingdom or something would be nuts. But we probably covered 6 or 3 each, right? You're a little short. In stature and wishes.
I said riches. I
okay,
said
riches. Just gonna go with that. Happiness,
health. Maybe.
Okay. Yep.
I don't know.
Not even solving world hunger.
Well,
all right.
Let's move on. Sure. I don't know.
I know. I think it's just any of these questions. A lot of times we just tend to really focus them on Disney. Obviously, and that makes sense. So that really was where a lot of our focus was.
But it is crazy because I'm not I don't know. The only selfish part I feel like would be riches because then I would just want to not have to worry about things
or anyone that you love. Yeah,
correct.
Worry about things. Yes. No,
correct.
I do agree with that.
That's why I got a lot of gray hair.
Right. All right.
So.
We're moving on to Catherine. She said, I'm new to listening to the podcast. Well, welcome. Love them, by the way. So you may have already answered these. We might have answered some of these, but it's been a while. First one is, if you had to pick a Disney park to live in for a week,
these are
which
fun.
would it be?
This is super fun. Because we've talked about this, I feel like multiple times. And then if not, me and Jeremy.
And obviously this could be any Disney park, but we would normally only talk about Walt Disney World, throw in Disneyland. You know what I mean? So remember, this is any Disney park, not land within a park.
Well, it's hard because of I don't know DCA and I don't know them that much.
I'm going Disneyland Park and I get to stay in Walt's apartment for that week.
Oh, okay.
I think that would take over Magic and staying in Cinderella Castle.
Right.
Easily. Yeah.
I still think I would pick possibly Magic.
Yeah. I still think I think it's one of those two.
Yeah.
Right. And again, we kind of just dive deep enough to say, well, where would you sleep? Where would, but it's more fun, I think, if you take that into account.
100%.
Next one, if you could only stay in one land inside one park for a week.
Cars.
I was just about to say that. I
That
totally
was
would.
so cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, heck, one of those nights we could, pop up a tent and stay like under the stars and the cars are all zooming right past you and stuff. Well, that one was easy. Okay, now this one is a good one because of our small world challenge that we did, where we wrote, what was our tally? 17 times back to back, basically. What about a ride that you had to ride back to back, but no getting off except to use the bathroom for 24 hours?
24?
Yeah, so literally you get to stay on the ride vehicle, she said, because you pretend that there's no lines or anything. You don't leave the ride vehicle.
Except restroom breaks.
Yeah, except restroom
Dude,
breaks.
what about eating, man?
Well, we'd pack snacks and all like we did for Small World Challenge.
24 hours, and then how do I sleep? Like,
you don't.
All right, let me think of a.
I'm thinking of the most comfortable ride vehicles.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. And I'm thinking, can I lay down on like something? Like,
and we are going ride, so don't cop out and say like Carousel of Progress. You know what I mean?
That's a ride.
It is an attraction.
That is a ride. You sit.
Okay.
I could do that one.
You could do a Carousel of Progress?
Yeah, because then I could lay on the floor.
Yeah.
To sleep.
What is the most comfortable ride vehicle?
And that's seats they're very comfortable.
Yeah.
And I would just have to go out to the bathroom.
No, I understand the logistics. I'm beyond that. I was thinking of my answer now about what is the most comfortable ride vehicle.
I mean that, or I feel like I could sleep on this too. People Mover. If you really take,
you can stretch your legs out. Because you have the seats across from you in the People Mover. That's a good one. That's on the more comfortable side because you have space.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of. Can you imagine being inside a Doom buggy?
No.
Right? I can't even lean back. I'm hunched over. It's like, and I'm inside an egg at that point.
Oh God.
Yeah. So
and then I think of Pirates, and then I'm like, no, because that's hard.
Yeah.
Like, and then the same boat going on. After literally that night, especially when we weren't standing as much, my butt.
After Small World Day,
hurting.
Yeah.
I was starting to really hurt.
I was too.
So so I think of okay, that was a boat. You don't want Pirates.
Yeah, none of those boat rides. None of the Omni Movers are going to be comfy. Spaceship Earth isn't awful. I guess those ride vehicles. Could you hack the little screen and just watch TV?
No, I wouldn't want that one either because you can't really stretch.
If you had to do a ride for 24 hours in this same scenario, but it had to be a roller coaster, which roller coaster would you choose?
I would vomit.
Well, fair enough, but you still have to choose which one upon you are going to.
What is considered a roller coaster?
Anything that is on a track that rollers.
His People Mover
that is not a roller coaster. I mean, I'm
24
thinking
24 hours I would throw up. I would throw up. I'm trying to think nothing. Even
maybe
Slinky
Seven Doors
Dome.
Mine Train, honestly.
Okay, maybe. Yeah.
That's probably would be and at least you get some swaying, so that movement would maybe help you. Right?
I don't know, but
Anywhere in
that
the
would
patch.
probably be.
Yeah, it has slow down periods.
Correct.
To give you a little bit of break. But do you think Hi-Ho in that cavern would get more annoying than listening to Small World over and over again?
No.
You don't
I think
so?
I'd block
I
it
feel
out.
Like it would.
I think I'd block it
all
out.
Right. Yeah. All right.
I think
That's
it'd
good.
be awful because of being cramped in something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. The ride vehicle is not ideal for me. So I
I
don't
mean,
know
even
what I
for
would
me is pretty tight.
pick. Right. How long could you lay in the position of the Tron vehicle? Like, let's just say it wasn't even moving.
Oh, my back. That hurts
Right?
my back, like just thinking of it.
It's one of those things that's comfortable when it begins, but there's a certain time period that will be a cutoff that it's just miserable. You know what I mean? So,
like, I mean, even laying on it, like laying down, but then you're kind of having yourself set up.
No, that one would be tough.
2 rides and that's it.
2?
That's
That's
it.
fair. I think that's fair. We're going to move on to Stacy, and she says, we went to Universal. I'll read this whole thing, and there's some questions in there. We went to Universal for the first time a couple of weeks ago under the umbrella of compare and contrast. What do you like and dislike between the two parks? We expected the cast members at Universal to be very friendly like they are at Disney. We would walk to a booth to order a snack and never hello or anything at all. We would always tell them to have a nice day upon leaving. That happened more than one places. Said they did get tickets to the soft opening of Epic Universe, and that was a totally different experience. The people there were extremely friendly, polite, all of that. First, going back to team members, which are their cast members.
Mm-hmm.
When we became pass holders in 2020, and then, of course, a year ago, we gave them up.
Mm-hmm.
I think we were both so incredibly surprised at how wonderful the team members were.
I agree.
Right? But
with a big giant but. Literally, we became pass holders because Universal opened first.
Yeah.
And I think everybody was so happy to be back.
It could be.
That everybody was incredible.
Yeah.
But with that also being said, I feel like, unfortunately, some cast members more on the higher end now at Disney has maybe not loved their job as much, and I've seen some just regular people.
Yeah.
I feel like they're not cast members. I'm like, oh, that's a cast member? It's no, it's not. Or I'm like, oh, poor thing.
Yeah.
They're tired of their job or something.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I'll be interested to see our experience at Epic with those team members then.
100%. And I feel like, I hate to say it like this, Epic's brand new.
Yeah.
People are excited.
And that tends to be.
Yeah.
Yes, people are excited. It's very new.
Yeah.
You're right. They haven't heard the same stupid question 1 million times.
Right.
They've only heard it now 7 or something. So that does make
100%.
sense. What are overall, though, if you were kind of comparing and contrasting certain parts of Disney and Universal, which do you like or dislike? For example, hotels in general, not the amount or the theming.
I always love the garages on the Universal parks, and they do not have them at the resorts at Disney parks.
You like that the
I
resorts
love
have garages?
Garages because I park my truck in it.
You don't think that would really ruin the theming at Disney?
I don't know. I'm just telling you what I like.
And they got one at Jumbo House.
Yep.
That's the only place.
Yep.
And to me, that sucks all the life out of that property when you're in that parking garage, for me personally. So
I'm just saying.
Okay, so
You're
but in
asking,
general, you
you're
like
asking,
okay.
Yeah.
So the garage situation is your over Disney, but just resorts in general. What do you feel like has better to offer?
Well, I mean,
Disney,
of course.
Yeah.
And I've always said, Stacey, unfortunately, to me, people compare Universal and Disney like apples to apples, and they're not. It's apple to an orange, or something in the same realm, but not the same at all.
Yeah.
I feel like you could almost compare. If you're gonna compare Universal to Disney, it'd be Universal to Disneyland, because of the fact of the two parks are in between City Walk.
Right.
Downtown Disney has then the two parks and Downtown Disney, and it's all within that walking.
Well, but I don't think there's any way to compare Universal to Disney unless you break it down into parts. I don't think you can compare. It's not fair to say, because they're not apples and apples. You can't just say, let's compare as a whole thing, Universal and Disney. As a whole thing. You can't do it.
Right. I know that.
So that's what I'm saying. It has to be broken down. It has to be hotels, thrill rides, shows, shopping. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Food. You have to break each of those down. For me, there's nothing I dislike at Universal. There's just a lot of things I don't like as much as Disney.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's really nothing I dislike about Universal. I really like Universal.
I don't dislike
but
Universal.
I don't like the stuff as much as I like it at Disney.
Right.
And that's what it comes down to.
It's just, I have to wear my patch. And I don't have to wear it when I go to Disney if I'm going with Jeremy. Now, for example, because we are going with our Jeremy's best friend, childhood best friends, and our best friends now that we have, he's been with forever, and then I've been with for over 20 years now. We're going to do a lot of riding.
Yeah.
So
you'll
I'm going to
wear
wear it just to be safe. But I cannot do that at Universal.
Right.
And so I'm like, oh, I don't care then to go there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But otherwise, I mean, I've really liked Universal. I'm excited to go to Epic and see it.
Yeah.
I loved, the recent visit that we made during Mardi Gras to Universal.
Mm-hmm.
I miss Universal. I don't miss being a pass holder.
Yeah.
In the sense that when we were pass holders, you want to get as much value as you can.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to go more often. I could go to Disney every single weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I can't go to Universal every single weekend.
Right.
Once a month would be cool, but not needed.
Mm-hmm.
But I just miss going maybe a guaranteed 4 times a year, just say.
Universal now reminds me of the girls where they were going to Disney so much and then they got tired of it.
Yeah.
And then we took it away from them. And then when we take them,
they love it again.
They love it.
No, you're exactly right.
And that's exactly how I feel. I'm so excited to spend Epic Universe with Tina and Rob and our families.
Yeah, in December.
The kids.
Yep.
I'm excited to go to Universal to Halloween Horror Nights with the kids.
Yeah.
And when I get back there, I'm like, oh yeah, I kind of miss
And you love it, but
and
you don't come back going, oh, when are we doing it again?
Right.
Where often we are. We always have a trip ready to go. I have a countdown thing in our kitchen, and it always has a countdown. I mean, again, we're very, very lucky people.
Yes.
We're very fortunate. It always has a countdown, usually under 20 days. Mm-hmm. So I'll get it down to 0. We'll come home, and I might be resetting it for 10 or 12 or 4, whatever it may be. And so... yeah, I want that every time, and I look forward to the next one. You're right. With Universal, I think we like it now even more than before because we don't go all the time.
Right.
So, good answer, Rhonda. All right, from
thanks.
Jason asked, best quick service breakfast and best sit-down breakfast. Sit down, I mean, Boma is so good.
Oh, yeah.
Boma's incredible.
I'll agree with that. Best quick service, I personally feel like any Mickey platter, waffle platter, any Mickey waffle platter at any quick service period across property. Those Mickey waffles, I just flippin' love, and they're just fantastic. The outside crunch, the soft inside. I mean, eat them plain, butter, syrup, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean,
you really can't eat those plain.
You can't.
They're that good.
They're that good.
Yeah, I think I saw it at Katempo Cafe on the menu when we stayed there, and I know they had it at Captain Cook's when we've been at Polly. Is their breakfast pizza? Outstanding.
Yeah, and you like that. It was good. I tasted it.
It was really, really
good.
Yeah. So I love that if anybody has that on their menu at one of the resorts. For in-park quick service, I mean, we haven't gotten it in ages, but Woody's Lunchbox is solid. It's very, very solid. I miss that smoked turkey breakfast sandwich. Remember?
Yeah.
It was smoked turkey, egg, cheese on like grilled sourdough. It was so
You need
good.
to try the bagel that's going around everywhere. We still haven't tried that. Like
where?
at every, it's a bagel breakfast sandwich. It's at every like.
We see them at Magic Kingdom all the time, but I think they've got them now at Animal Kingdom along with that little stuffed
like everywhere.
pancake thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would go with Woody's Lunchbox. We need to get to Satuli Canteen and do their breakfast now that it's back.
They have a breakfast?
They have a breakfast, yes. So we need to get there and do that. Maybe next weekend during Main Street 16 weekend we might be able to, but we'll find a time to get there soon. All right, Rebecca asked, who is your Disney character crush as a kid? I don't know that I have one because I didn't grow up so Disney. I can tell you who it is now. That isn't awkward.
Anna?
Yeah,
that is a little awkward, by the way.
Well, then I take that back. It was not. That's who I had a crush on as a child, a young child. When Frozen came out.
Frozen came out, and your daughter
I know.
was 18 months old.
Yeah, I don't know that I really had one. I know I can go I would just oust him. Your brothers, wasn't it? A Jasmine?
Yeah.
Didn't you have a huge crush on
Yeah.
Jasmine?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that meeting.
I would say
he was 23 at the time, but
no, he wasn't.
he was close.
He was,
He was
well,
20.
well.
Anyway, who was? Did you have?
I
Disney
would
crushes growing up?
basically say the Beast, but when he turns into his human form, of course.
Well, that is you. Wow,
He's
you
really
completely
cute.
missed the point of the movie because you can only love him for his looks.
Well, yeah.
You understand that,
Uh-huh.
right? Okay, all righty. Okay.
He was cute. I was like, oh my goodness.
What's his name?
I forget.
It's Steven.
No. I don't
That's the guy
think
who
so.
played him. Wasn't it a Steven that played him in the live action?
No, that was.
Can we do under the entire Disney umbrella? Like, what about sitcoms? Like, what channel was Who's the Boss on? Because I had a huge crush on Alyssa Milano.
Oh, she's.
But I can't remember if that was an
gorgeous.
ABC show.
Yeah.
Or Full House or one of those.
Yeah.
Like, probably would have been one of mine. But all those people are my same age now, or I'm probably older than them, I feel like. That's the sad part. All right, let's move on to Anthony. Said, how did you get into making the podcast? And then you talk about your brother a lot. What do you do for him? Short, because I know we've told it a couple times. Short story of making the podcast. We became pass holders. We were going every single month.
Mm-hmm.
I had done podcasts for my brother for years. And me and a buddy, John, said, let's start a Disney podcast. People are always asking us questions.
Yes.
Maybe it turns into something. John got super busy and all, and Rhonda started stepping in, and then it was Rhonda
The
and
rest
I
is history.
since then. Yeah. So, but that was the catalyst for it was we were pass holders. I knew how to podcast, and people kept asking us questions. And I thought, is there a way to turn this into something
Correct.
that has some sort of return of value?
Yep.
It really doesn't. So financially and value in like our hearts and all, very much so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
we still help
For
people.
my brother, I do all my brother's social media work. He's a keynote speaker. And I work with the clients to get his travel all arranged, to get him to and from, to make sure everything's set to go. Basically a personal assistant. But yeah, that's what I do. So if you go to, and when I say I do his social media, he has all the content. He gives it to me to put it into the world. It's not as though, you know what I mean? They're all his ideas, thoughts, everything. I just put them on a silver platter to show the world. But if you go out to any of his social, that's all my doing. So, and then his last question was favorite restaurant in Disney Springs. I think this is one of the hardest questions about Walt Disney World for two reasons. One, there's a lot of really great restaurants at Disney
there
Springs.
is.
But two, none of them are like my favorites when I talk about favorite restaurants. You know what I mean? There's a lot of great restaurants at Disney Springs. But there's no one restaurant there that shows up in like my top 5 all of Disney property restaurants or
Boathouse doesn't?
I don't know that it does. I love Boathouse. I personally don't think it's at the level that everybody else makes it out to be.
Pizza Ponte.
Pizza Ponte is one of the best restaurants on planet Earth.
I'm gonna
I
say
miss
that's
it.
I'm gonna say that's my favorite restaurant in Disney Springs.
In Disney Springs.
Because I'm trying to think like I hate to say it like this, but first of all, there's a lot of sit down restaurants. There's a lot of restaurants that when we go, unfortunately, it's like I don't feel like sitting there or spending that money.
Right.
Like Boathouse, I love, and I'm like, ooh, but then I'm like, okay, that's gonna be expensive. With all that being said, I just start saying, with all that being said, Pizza Ponte is one that we will go in. I mean, pretty much every time we're there.
Yeah. I mean, and we'll be staying at the Drury here.
And we will be
for
getting
3 nights.
Yes.
How many
heck
pizzas do you think we will Ponte?
A lot.
A lot.
But,
I mean, especially when you start to combine. I mean, we've got, almost a dozen rooms booked at the Drury for this event. When you start to combine having Matt in our room and Rob and Tina and everybody else is going to be there. I know Rachel loves Pizza Ponte. I'm sure we're going to be walking back with her some night carrying pizzas. So yeah, we're going to have a lot of it, I bet. But it's been a while.
Oh, it's
I mean,
been
really
a very
has
long
been
time.
a while. I probably actually would go with Boathouse. I mean, what I love about Boathouse is it is absolutely what would you call it? Relaxed fine dining.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't. It is a fine dining restaurant, but it doesn't feel like it at all.
Yeah.
You know, they get a new shrimp guy, and this place does start to make some of my top 5 lists. But another one I do want to get back to for filet mignon sliders, that's for sure. Jennifer said or asked, do you need Lightning Lane in mid-January, not MLK weekend, or is it slow enough to wing it? You can do Disney without Lightning Lane. You can plan a lot and really, have a strategy, and you can get a lot still done. Personally, I'm going to say, and I'm not sure how often Jennifer goes, they're looking at January right now, so maybe this is their kind of once a year or so. I would get them.
Yeah.
But would you agree?
I would. I really
100% for Magic Kingdom and 100%
Right.
for Hollywood Studios at least.
Yeah.
But I mean, other than that, you may be
Because
able
it's
to.
still busy.
It is.
It's still been busy.
And that's the thing. People ask now, and I'm sure they ask you,
Right.
when is it slow at Disney?
It's
and you just want to
not.
go, no.
I know. It's
No
not.
more. Brittany was just messaging me about Christmas Day. She was talking to a friend, and I was like, historically, that is one of the top 3 busiest days out of the year. It's that, New Year's Eve, and July 4th. We were so lucky when we were there in 2022 because it was 34 degrees outside. Remember, the parks were dead.
Yeah.
Like they really were.
Yeah.
But yeah, any other time, I told Brittany, I said, well, sometimes there's a sweet spot in between Christmas and New Year's. And I said, again, historically, the first week or so in December has been
And
slower.
usually Mother's Day.
Yeah.
Mother's Day weekend is always, which is this next weekend.
Yep. Yeah. But going back to January, I know she said, well, not MLK weekend. Another one you want to think about is Marathon weekend. Is always that first weekend in January, and the parks can get super duper busy.
Yep.
But again, Magic Kingdom, Hollywood Studios for sure. I would get it. I would still, if it's a one time a year thing, I would get it for both Epcot and Animal Kingdom. And then you still could just plan rope drops or last minute night rides and avoid paying for single passes. You know what I mean? And then
True.
at least you save a little money there.
True.
But,
100%.
I would do it that way. All right. Justin said, and I'll read kind of this whole thing too. Are there any older Disney movies, shows, characters, etc. that you enjoyed that you'd like to see return in some way? He said, for me, it's the Gummy Bears. I love them as a kid and would love to see some kind of rebranding or presence in the park. Gummy berry juice practically sells itself. He said, especially if it makes you jump high. You remember Gummy Bears? I actually do remember that vaguely. It's not something I think would just come out of my memory bank without somebody mentioning it.
Like
It was
Gummy
a show.
Bears, like a show.
Yeah, I mean, they were pretty
Like
much Gummy
the candy.
Bears. Yeah.
Huh.
I mean, pretty much, yeah. Do you have something? Like,
Yeah, Fraggle Rock.
oh, that's a good one. Ooh.
It was so good.
New show.
Yeah.
I swear somebody was working on one at one point.
Really?
So that's Jim Henson. I
see?
don't know if that means that Disney completely owns that I don't know if they own all of the Jim Henson property, how any of that relationship
I'm
is.
going to say they do.
But we'll say they do. That'd be a really good one.
That'd be
you know
fun.
what? You know what I would love to see come back. I mean, sadly, it obviously wouldn't be the same as a show like Jessie. Like, imagine one of those reunion shows that does, even if it's just a special, an hour-long special or something. I loved watching Jessie with the girls when they would watch it. So I think more of those. Bunked. I think Bunked might
it's
be
still
going.
be on.
They've replaced that
But
whole
the
cast.
girls-
I think Miranda May is still in it.
But the girls have just gotten so old.
Oh, yeah.
That
But-
we don't watch it anymore
Right.
with them.
But yeah, we used to love that show. But I'm trying to think of ones when I was a kid. I mean, I watched every Saturday morning cartoon. But I'm trying to think of something specifically
the
Disney.
Jetsons.
The Jetsons, that was good. What year did the Jetsons take place in, I wonder? I want to say it's not far from I want to say it was like 2032 or something. That's in 7 years. We're not even close to that.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for a robot made. Then his next question was, how much pressure do you think has been added to Disney now that we are seeing what Universal has done at Epic Universe, especially as it relates to Villains Land, since Dark Universe seems to have been done so well? I still don't believe that Disney is doing anything as a direct response to Epic.
Right.
In the sense that I don't think they're going Dark Universe, now we have to respond with Villains Land. If that makes sense.
And I agree with you, but I will say that with it coming out, because this has been what they call it, what was it, Blue Sky?
Blue Sky, yeah.
Where it was just talked about.
Right.
I'm pretty sure that this Blue Sky stuff, they got in a meeting and was like, all right, look, we gotta put brain to paper.
Yeah.
We gotta put the Blue Sky to permits and paper and work, because this thing at Universal's coming, and we're not opening a fifth gate, but we do want this dreams to become reality. Yeah. So that's what I think.
No, I agree. But I think, again, it's that bigger picture. That's like that to me. That's not direct response. It's more of here's the things that we're doing collectively. Right. Here's the things Universal is doing collectively. Because they were doing
this prior. Like this big.
I mean, there's been rumors of a talked about Villain Land for decades.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's not like Epic had the idea first in that sense.
Correct.
I think most of the pressure comes from the fan base.
Yeah.
That's where the pressure comes from. It comes from people going, what are you going to do now, Disney? Look what Universal did. And then, if Disney all of a sudden comes out with something huge, then they could say it the other way. But I don't know that those parks are fighting back in their own minds as much as people want them to. And we've always said, why don't you want them to continue to outdo each other?
Oh, 100%.
Because we as theme park fans win.
Right.
Who cares if Disney or Universal wins? Let them battle it out for the ages. Let them keep making, groundbreaking attractions and opening new lands and parks and hotels. Right. Oh, no.
Right.
How awful.
Right.
So we win.
Right.
So,
yeah,
some people might say they lose because of things like Villains Land and Cars Land taking out Rivers of America, but they are on the internet a lot.
I will say, too, it was super funny because, you say, what is, Epic opens and what is and it always makes me laugh because when you do try to air quote unquote compare it and you're like, okay, and this was prior to Epic opening, but you're like, Disney or Universal has 2 parks and 1 water park.
Yeah.
Disney has 4 parks and 2 water parks.
Yes.
And now it's only been 1 open for a while. So then they're like, oh, well, guess what? Now we're going to open them both at the same time.
And I do. And again, I think that's part of the grand plan.
Yeah.
Obviously, there are some ridiculously low rates this summer because Disney needs to put people in the resorts because the occupancy is low. Right. Yes, that is an overall response in a grand plan to Epic Universe.
Absolutely.
Opening. That's our thoughts. All right, Olivia, we got a couple more. Olivia's got a fun one, and one that I don't know that I've ever thought about. In Beauty and the Beast, were all the plates and utensils also people before? And if they did not stay animated after the curse was lifted, because you never saw them again. So all the plates and everything else, were those people that turned into that? I have a theory.
You do? Okay, because I would say yes.
I think it's the magic of the castle. So, yes, Lumiere was a candlestick, is now
he was a
is going
human.
to be I'm sorry, was a human, now a candlestick.
Right.
Yes. Okay. Those make sense. But all of the other stuff, you're not all of a sudden just going to go, the curtains, was that a human? You know what I mean? So I think what it is yes, you have those. You have Lumiere and Cogsworth and all of them. You have Mrs. Potts and Chip. They're all doing Be Our Guest. But it's the magic within the castle that is making the dancing plates and silverware and all.
Okay.
Not because they were people and now they are live, plates or something. Because none of them had faces or anything on them.
True.
Everything else had faces and obviously talked. It's not like the plates were back there singing a chorus or something or had little legs coming out of the bottom kicking like the Rockettes or something, right? I wouldn't eat off that plate. That's another thing to think about. Right? So that actually is interesting. I mean,
Chip, when you drink from him.
Yeah, Mrs. Potts had tea in her, but I don't know. It's somehow different to think of this was a person and now they're filled with soup and I'm eating the soup. You know what I mean? So I think, and like every glassware, all that couldn't be. How many people would have to work at that castle to completely outfit
you got to
it?
think about it. And then it was a party that they had.
Right.
So there's a lot of
But we don't see any party people at the end when they all come back to life. You don't see a bunch of people just coming out like, that was the craziest party I have ever been to.
But I mean,
what was in the punch?
What what are you referring to, the brand new one?
Well, either of them. I mean,
because
either
the
of them,
brand new one, you really see a ton of people walking out of the castle.
Yeah.
And then you do also have a ton of people walking up to it.
Man, I never thought of it that way.
And also,
you just go to a party, and next thing you're a fork, right? Like, how awful! And you didn't even do anything,
right?
Like, you just went to a party.
Right.
Like, the guy, obviously, the prince has issues.
Yeah.
If he sends you an invite,
yeah,
and you RSVP no, he's gonna be angry,
right?
Right.
So you don't RSVP.
So
you
you
go.
just go,
right?
And what do you get for it?
Right.
You're a fork.
Yeah.
That's awful. Beauty and the Beast is a really disturbing movie. All right. Kaylee said, thoughts on park hopping and how to utilize the most of your time for a quick Disney trip. Sometimes hard to get a full week off work. So what do you both feel is the best attack plan for a 3 or 4 day trip? Park hopping 100%.
Oh, absolutely.
Honestly, you don't even end up having to use it every day. Let's just say, right? Because on your Magic Kingdom day in that instance, you may not want to park hop.
Right.
There's, you can spend open to close
right.
at Magic Kingdom and still not get everything done.
Right.
But what it does is almost like our Disneyland trip. Our thought was 3 days. Day 1, you do a focus on Disneyland Park. Day 2, DCA. Day 3, you play cleanup.
Mm-hmm.
You could do something similar here. Next weekend, our Main Street 16 weekend, we're doing the parks Friday and Saturday with 3 of my best friends growing up. And my plan for the most part is on Friday, we're going to start at Animal Kingdom because it opens the earliest. We're going to try and get everything we can done there. Mm-hmm. I'm going to have already booked lightning lanes for Magic Kingdom in the afternoon to evening and probably bought multi-pass or a single pass for Tron,
yes.
right? But the morning, we're going to rope drop to accomplish things there. Quick morning, head over to Magic Kingdom. Boom. 2 parks we've accomplished on day 1. Mm-hmm. Day 2, we're going to look at doing Hollywood Studios. Mm-hmm. Probably book lightning lanes to start there, mm-hmm. but rope drop Rise. Mm-hmm. Then hop and continue obviously booking lightning lanes as needed to EPCOT and have purchased a single pass for Cosmic Rewind.
Right.
So that 2 days, we've done 4 parks.
Right.
If you had a 3rd and 4th day, you could spread that out so you don't have to hit those 2 days too hard. Or you have a 3rd or 4th day to, again, bat cleanup. Mm-hmm. Where you could say, well, let's start the morning again at Animal Kingdom because we missed this. From there, we're going to go to this park and do what we didn't do. Then to this park. And I think you can just make better use of your time in a short period. Mm-hmm. But you can only do it with park hopping.
Correct.
Otherwise, and here's the thing. You don't do park hopping. Your Animal Kingdom day, while yes, you could make it a full day park, you're not going to on your vacation.
Correct.
You're just not.
Correct.
You're going to waste a half a day not doing parks if you have a single Animal Kingdom day, for example. So that would be my thought. All right. We're going to finish it off with 2 questions from Kendall. He said, what's something Disney related that you only like because of nostalgia? She said, I only endured the old Country Bear Jamboree because my dad likes it, but probably wouldn't have done it if it wasn't for him. But we love the new version now. Is there something you kind of just love because of nostalgia that you wouldn't if it was just introduced to you now? I have one, and I think it's not going to be a popular opinion amongst you and I even. The All-Star Resorts. They're wonderful resorts, but so much of my love for them is nostalgic and us going there the most with our girls and at specific times. Imagine. No, again, we're very, very lucky. We've only not stayed at Riviera. You can close your mouth now. We've only not stayed at Riviera and Grand Flow, right?
Right.
But we started at All Stars, right?
Right.
What would you think if you had done all the moderates, and all the deluxes. And then, in this day, you had never even stepped foot on an All-Star. You went to All-Star. What are you going to think of it?
I think I'd still.
You're not going to love it.
Why?
There's nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying. You have to think about that. If you're a poly girl living in an All-Star world, it's not, you know what I mean? Like,
Oh my
you're not going to
God.
love it as much.
Okay.
I mean, I love Michael to death, but he is a poly girl who tried to stay in an All-Star world one time and he won't do it again. You know what I mean? He won't stay at the Values. But that's what I'm saying. I think it's a wonderful resort. I love it. We stay there so often, but there's so much nostalgia built in for us.
Well,
there.
and I say, like, I now don't mind at all because it's just me and you, and we don't ever bring that second bed down.
And we're able to often now pay under $150.
And I feel like
night.
it's much bigger, and I don't know. I'm fine with it and I really like some of the like big giant stuff. I don't know, like
Pop Century is just started. I don't know if it was today or this weekend to open some of the rooms they've been doing a soft refurb on.
And
some new, a little bit of color to the walls, so they're not all white. It looked like it might have been like an agreeable gray around part of it, not the accent wall, I guess now with the TV.
Mm-hmm.
A colorful rug that goes under the main bed,
mm-hmm.
and then new curtains that it looked like it had a Mickey cartoon image on it, and I could see kind of like a word bubble coming out.
Mm-hmm.
But so it looks like they just added some color to it, so that's good. Do you have something that you only like because of nostalgia? Then. And again, I love the All-Stars. It's just that. I
mean, I hate to say it, but Small World is one of them. I mean, because again, could you imagine putting a Tangled boat ride in there for some reason? I don't know what reason how you do it, but that'd be just right. That'd be amazing to me. But I like it because it's nostalgic, and it's
well, that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Perfect. I think that's the answer. Finally, she asked, this will be our last question for this round. If you did not hear your question answered on this episode, listen to the Epic Universe episode next, then we'll do the rest of those questions. She asked, which rides do you wish took a photo? And you have the most perfect one ever.
Big Thunder Mountain.
Yes.
Agreed. And I think it did used to.
I feel like it did at one point in time.
Anyways.
Yeah. I wish it did too.
Yeah.
Anything
maybe they'll
beyond
add that.
I'm hoping they do with this refurb, like we've talked about. Add the dynamite at the end and do all that stuff. Add the photo. I think that's all the ones. I think it'd be funny just to have one on like Living with the Land.
I started to say, do you have one that you're like, I would
No, because I was trying to think of one, and then you saying Big Thunder, I was like, oh, that is perfect. Because anything real high speed has it. I don't
Pirates
know.
has it. Haunted has it.
Haunted has it. Like. Remy's at some point.
That'd be
Is there
cool.
a good point? Like, okay, Remy's, when they pop the champagne bottle and it like squirts the air at you? Do it during that.
Everybody's eyes would be closed.
Yeah, but imagine the faces they'd be making. They'd all be pretty funny. Okay. That would be mine then. But that's not going to get voted in by anyone. All right. Thank you all so much. Again, if you did not hear your question this episode, it'll be 2 episodes from now. If you want to catch all that and our Epic Universe review, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. You get brand new episodes every Tuesday and Friday. Are you planning a Disney or Universal vacation? Make it seamless with Vacation Grocery Delivery. They deliver fresh groceries right to your resort so you can skip the store and start your vacation as soon as possible. We absolutely love using their service. There's no price markups on items, and they've never canceled an order like some of those other services. Plus, their team is comprised of former Disney cast members who ensure top-notch service. And we want to give a big thank you to Vacation Grocery Delivery for being the sponsor of this year's Main Street 16 Challenge Weekend. Visit VacationGroceryDeliveryFL.com to place your order and tell them Main Street Magic sent you. We're excited to announce Balanced Weather, your go-to source for smart, reliable weather updates tailored for Walt Disney World and all of Central Florida. CEO Alan Gerard, a meteorologist and lifelong Disney fan, has been providing weekly weather reports to the Main Street Magic community for years. And now he'll be bringing you weekly forecasts, plus answers to your questions about weather for your upcoming Disney, Universal, or Florida vacation. Visit balancedweather.com/WDW-weather to learn more and get the latest updates. And then, of course, we would both be so super thankful if you could please leave us a rating and review.
Because it helps our show grow.
That's all we've got. We'll see you real soon.
Jeremy and Rhonda are more than a little fond of Disney World, so they made this podcast to share it all with you. Reports and resorts, top 10 lists of all sorts, Main Street Magic's bringing it home.